What's up, beautiful people? This is Sindafam. Welcome to the channel. Today we have Candace Owens on the plantation then and now. So this is from Praga U. Also, I'm excited to check this one out. Let's check it out.
In the first half of the 19th century, 4 million blacks worked as slaves imprisoned on plantations in the American South. They were prevented from learning how to read, their families were forcibly broken up, and if they tried to escape, they were severely and brutally punished. The owners of these plantations were almost without exception Democrats. Before the Civil War, slave-owning Democrats used black bodies to massively increase the number of votes they got in Congress and the Electoral College. Because of the 3/5 compromise, a single Democrat in Georgia who owned 5 slaves got 4 times the representation as a single white abolitionist in Pennsylvania who didn't own any. So for Democrats, it has always been about using black bodies for political power. How they are used may vary, but the plantation model remains a constant, even today. Despite the fact that blacks are no longer enslaved, many black children barely learn to read in poorly performing schools. Our families are often shattered by misguided welfare policies, and if we try to escape, we still face punishment. Of course, the plantations of the 21st century are not physical, they are virtual. The owners of these plantations are once again, almost without exception, Democrats. Think about it. What today are certain areas of Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, St. Louis, Atlanta, Milwaukee, and Philadelphia, all run for decades by Democrats, but virtual plantations? Many who live in these areas are largely, if not totally, dependent on their masters, the politicians, for their food, housing, and health care. It's hardly a fair exchange. The politicians become wealthy. The residents become vote slaves, sustained just barely by government transfer payments. And just like the plantations of yesteryear, which demanded a consistent breakdown of the black family to reinforce its system of buying and selling slaves, Democrats today incentivize similar family corrosion through their policies, fostering dependence not on mom and dad, but on the government. To give just one example, virtually every inner city school provides free breakfast and lunch. Sounds generous, but what it really does is remove the traditional responsibility from parents by handing it over to the state. Yet many do break free from this oppressive system. Like the fugitive slave Frederick Douglass once did, they run toward a better life. But leaving the plantation still entails great risk. Of course, today it's not the whip or the lash, it's libel and slander. The purpose is to bring black conservatives within an inch of their professional and sometimes personal lives a warning that rebellion will not be tolerated. Don't believe it? Just ask Dr. Ben Carson, Hoover Institution economist Thomas Sowell, or Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, to cite 3 prominent examples. Carson, one of the most celebrated brain surgeons of the modern era, has been called stupid by the legacy media because he has conservative political views. Thomas Sowell, who went to Harvard and taught at Cornell, Amherst, and UCLA, and may be the nation's most brilliant economist, has largely been ignored, while many lesser lights have been celebrated. Clarence Thomas, one of the luminous legal minds of our time, was the victim of a massive smear campaign during his nomination to the Supreme Court. Because of his conservative views, his reputation was dragged through the media mud. This is how he described the experience. It is a high-tech lynching for uppity blacks who in any way deign to think for themselves, to do for themselves, to have different ideas. And it is a message that unless you kowtow to an old order, this is what will happen to you. You will be lynched, destroyed, caricatured, rather than hung from a tree. Today's plantation owners will do anything to hold on to what they see as their property. Little wonder. In 2012, Barack Obama received 93% of the black vote. In 2016, Hillary Clinton received 88%. That dip was a critical factor in Clinton's loss. The Democrats know that they can't lose the black vote and win a national election, so they make up lies. They say America was founded for the purpose of perpetuating slavery. They say white people hate us. They say the entire system is racist and that our only hope is them. The same old Democrats. The plantation owners know what will happen if blacks demand that their children receive a good education, if they shake off their dependence on government handouts, if they refuse to see themselves as victims and instead embrace all the opportunities America offers.
Yes.
The plantation system would collapse once and for all. In the 19th century, we had to depend on others to be liberated. This time, we have to do it ourselves.
Exactly.
Will we? I'm Candace Owens, author of Blackout, How Black America Can Make Its Second Escape from the Democrat Plantation for Prager University.
This video was made possible through a generous donation from the Kentucky Patriots for America.
Wow. This was well said, because the truth is, I must say that most blacks or most people know about this, but the thing is, them failing to break free from the truth, and more so, many people are so much in tune with believing lies. Like some people really want to be just followers. They are comfortable being followers, and because I keep asking this question, how is it that we keep hearing the blacks complain, oh, we are oppressed, America is not the land of the free. Now I get it, that is the government that instills these things to them and let them think that way, instead of allowing them to think freely. And it doesn't make sense. No, it doesn't, because that is just the worst kind of slavery. Because if you understand that, oh, you're free, but you're being enslaved from your mindset, or you're being enslaved and you're giving peanuts and all of those things, you're still slave. You're still living in the slavery times. Because honestly, they know that once you're not thinking like they want you to think, you're mentally free, and then you that's the beginning of your morning. Because I've wondered and I've asked, okay, how is it that people who are not, especially people, immigrants, when they come over to America, they succeed, and all we hear is the blacks complain and complain and complain, and now it just is really clear. And it's sad that a lot of people, they just want to sit and dwell in the lie, and they just want to believe that because that is what they are conditioned to. But I mean, come on, we live in a time and age where we should also realize that no matter what, the government, just all they want to do is control everything, control our lives, control the way we think, control everything we do. And the sooner we start realizing that, the better for us. And I'm glad that a few others have realized that and are grabbing the bull by the horn, going to learn for themselves, going to schools, getting jobs for themselves, or getting jobs, instead of sitting down and waiting for the government to give you all of those things, or to hand you all of those things. Because the minute they continuously do that, you're dependent on them, and all they got to do is control you, control the way, control everything, control your lifestyle. But if you don't give them that control anymore, they don't have that power over you. I mean, I just can't wait for the day and time when people would come to realize this. Now I don't like using the word or the term black people, but I wish they would realize and come to the awareness to see this, and start working and free themselves from that ideology and that modern day slavery. The sooner they do, the better. But yeah, I really love this one. It was quite educative, quite informative, and yeah. And also, this is not just only an American thing. It also happens in some parts of the world where the government wants to control everything, or the government just want to give you peanuts and make you be solely dependent on them. That's the worst kind of slavery. But yeah, still in the American system, mostly for the blacks, this is their daily life, this is what they suffer, this is what they endure. But yeah, they really need to realize this and not just believe the lies that they are always being told, because there are some people that are just conditioned to only believe the lies and stay there. That's bad. But yeah, I just can't wait for the day and age when blacks will realize that they are free, but they've not actually want to free themselves from mental slavery, and they should realize what is being done to them, or most blacks should realize what is being done to them, and start thinking independently. That will save them lots of stress and save them from being used. Because another thing I've got to ask is, amongst ourselves, who do we think benefits the most when there is division amongst people? It's not us who benefit, because all we got to do is fight amongst ourselves, and there are people who sit down to benefit it, and that's the government. They benefit it because when there is unity and there's togetherness, they know that these people cannot be controlled. But when they know that if they cause conflict, or know that there is conflict amongst people, oh yeah, they are going to be controlled, they are going to instill a particular way of reasoning on one person or on somebody, and that person would mentally program it and say, oh yeah, this is it, this is how it is supposed to be, and then there is now division and chaos and conflict everywhere, and they benefit out of it. I mean, come on, we should start realizing these things rather than giving them that power over us. Or blacks mostly should start realizing this instead of giving the government power over them. That's my 2 cents about this. But all the same, I really love your thoughts and your contribution in the comment down below. You can also share other useful information I think might be really helpful. And until next time, see you in the next video.